how I plan to use it based on what happens. So yeah, in this session, we'll be thinking about the encounter between writing and looking, and maybe starting with looking and then thinking about how writing can generate out of that. So I'm thinking about slowing down, thinking about introducing some other conditions as a form of research process. So I think of looking and writing as providing conditions for doing research and contributing to research. So words that are like, say, loitering or crip time here are lingering, returning, circling, attending. And these are ways of unsettling the impulse to quickly interpret or resolve what we see. Maybe that's the most important thing that I think I'm exploring here, which is about slow looking as a form of attending or attuning, and holding things in a kind of state of suspended resolution. I think resolution is important, but maybe not being quick to resolve or quick to feel the pressure to get it to that end. So I'm inviting everybody who's here to work with one image or object for this whole session. And actually, if you'd like to try it in a longer time period, try to work with one image or object on some of these exercises over a longer period of time. Today, we've just got 30 minutes. So we're not trying to explain anything. We're looking, we're thinking about description, we're thinking about other senses other than the eyes, and allowing reflection to unfold. Writing may emerge through observation or through other senses or through shifts in perspectives. And those are the things I'm going to be kind of prompting. So we're not trying to arrive at a kind of fulsome whole interpretation. That maybe seems too big and too ambitious a word, but to explore how writing can remain alongside an image or an object. So I'm really interested in that idea of writing to, writing for, writing with this thing, rather than it being a kind of total translation. Okay, so I'm just going to start to allow a minute or two for people to collect something that you'd like to work with for the session. This could be something that's close to hand. It could be, you're totally free to work with an image, for example. If you're currently working on something, for example, in your own practice, and you're doing some writing about something, that might be a good candidate. I did this workshop a year or two ago with somebody who was working on their PhD, and they zoomed right in on an artwork by the artist that they were writing about, and came back joyously 6 months later to say, that thing we did in that workshop, that went into my PhD, and she really loved it. But anyway, so if there's something that's right close to you in terms of important for you right now, you could pick that. So just pick, but it could be an image. Sorry, it could also be an object. You've got something around you. I'll put something up. No, maybe I won't. Maybe I do. I have something. So if you have no idea what to pick, I'll put something up. But obviously that's my thing, and I would almost prefer if you do your thing. So I'm going to start with, has everybody got something? Has everybody got something? It doesn't matter whether you write with a pen or pencil and paper or type. But yeah, you'll need to have something that you can write with as well. So I'm going to start with a quote. So I'm just going to be punctuating some prompts with some quotations, and this is from the researcher and scholar Tina Campt, who is really interesting for the way that she kind of integrates oral history with ethnography. And she also combines post-colonial, feminist, diasporic outlooks. It's a quote from her 2012 book, I think. Image. Oh no, sorry. This is a quote from her later book, but she wrote a really interesting book in 2012, published in 2012, called Image Matters, and she was investigating the identity of the African diaspora through photography. And then this is a follow-up book, listening to images and exercising counterintuition, where she's really interested in photography that's being overlooked and investigating it through sound and other senses. So I really like what she says here, and how there's a politics involved here to do with what's overlooked and what's everyday. So she asks, what is the relationship between quiet and quotidian? Each term references something assumed to go unspoken or unsaid, unremarked, unrecognized, or overlooked. Yet the quotidian is not equivalent to passive everyday acts, and quiet is not an absence of articulation. She continues, quiet is a modality that surrounds and infuses sound with impact and affect, which creates the possibility for it to register as meaningful. The quotidian is a practice honed by the dispossessed in the struggle to create possibility within the constraints of everyday life. And here's where she brings her a particular politics to it. For Blacks in diaspora, both quiet and the quotidian are mobilized as everyday acts of refusal. So with Camped, I think it's an attunement to what is unsaid, overlooked, but nonetheless very much present. And when we turn to writing, I think the challenge becomes how to write that. So turning to your image or object, I'm going to start with some prompts, just some sort of questions or thoughts about how you might begin to look at it. So, for example, it doesn't really matter which way or what it is, but you may wish to think about, is the object or the image, is it natural or is it cultural? Something else? You might want to reflect on who made it. Or is it not possible to know who made it? Or is it unnecessary to know who made it? Can you touch it? Do you not need to touch it? Are you working from a reproduction? Or is it the thing itself? And where is this image or object in relation to your body right now? So I think I'd like to invite just like a minute or two here for you to write some words down, maybe not trying to answer these questions, but just responding. Maybe you practice a kind of a free writing, or maybe there are particular words that may be related or representational or descriptive of this. Take a minute to do that. Okay. The question I'm asking right now is, do you need to look at your object to answer these questions? Or do you not? Are they already there? Are they accessible through through other means? It's a point of reflection. Okay. So I wanted to share another quotation. So you may already be familiar with Laura U. Marx's writings. She writes in expansive and experimental ways, and she's really interested on reflecting on how kind of infinitely connected our experiences are with the kind of material objects of life, of everyday life, as well as media, especially such as film. Um, and Marx offers a kind of a both metaphysical, like philosophical, and also practical method for thinking about how knowledge, art, and politics impact what can be revealed, what can be made present and evident, but also what's kept hidden in the world. So I'll read this out. She writes, I search the image for a trace of the ordinary physical event. The image is connective tissue. It's that fold in the universal strudel. I wanted to reveal to me a continuity I had not foreseen, and in turn reveal that to you. No need to interpret, only to unfold, to increase the surface area of expertise. This is why
experience.
Pardon?
The surface area of experience.
Oh, thanks, Mo. Sorry. You're right. I said expertise, but it does say experience. The surface area experience. This is why, along with descriptions of art and ideas, you'll read findings from science and from my own dreams in these essays. They're all real and all intertwined. And actually, it's funny that I substituted a word there. The line that I'm most drawn to and I'm most interested in relationship to slow looking is this: no need to interpret, only to unfold, to increase the surface area of experience. So here this is where I'm gonna ask you to do some writing, and we'll take, actually we've got a good amount of time for this. We can take like 8 minutes for this. So I'll put this slide up and then I'll maybe, has everybody got something that they're working with, or do you want me to put something up? Call out if you want me to put an image up, because otherwise I'll just leave this slide up and you can keep it as reference. Has everybody got something they're already working with? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay. So
yes.
Thanks, Mo. Fabulous. So here's the exercise. It's about looking and writing together, maybe looking and then writing and then looking again. It's really a question of what do you see and how do you put those into words. You might be interested in this particular task of descriptive writing. So you're looking and doing a translation into language. That might not be what you're interested in. So another option could be that you free write. And that's a more, let's say, a bit more of a distance kind of writing, or an impressionistic kind of writing, or a totally open kind of writing that is allowed to follow its own path. So your choice. You might try the one that you've never tried before. So the main thing is just to look and then to write. And when you think you've written enough, to look again and then write again. And you know, maybe recall back the quote I shared in the previous slide about no need to interpret, just to unfold the surface area. I love that. And these images actually that have been on the slides are from a book by Marx, and they really make me think, not this one, but the other ones really make me think about like the brain, the surface area of the brain is something that is like if you really were to kind of travel through it all, it'd be an incredibly long journey. So if you can imagine that idea, whatever object, even if the surface at first seems to be something that's repellent, that doesn't let you in, think about ways that you can increase that surface area. It could be literal or it could be metaphoric. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet and we're all going to write, and I'm going to give it 8 minutes. See where it goes. I'm going to turn off my mic, but I'll still be here. See you in 8 minutes. All right, I'm gonna call people back in. I'm gonna do a few more things. How's that?
Good,
Great.
very good.
It's great. Mo, what are you writing about?
Do you want me to read it?
No, I want to know what thing you're writing about.
I'm writing about a mask that's used in theatre. It's black and white and it's paper mache.
Okay. Is it yours? Do you have it nearby?
I have it very nearby. It's mine, and I found it years ago in a junk shop.
Is it something you look at every day?
Yeah, and it's gone from being sacred to being not noticed, quotidian.
Okay. And so why did you pick it?
Um, I guess I've never really studied it, and it was convenient.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Actually, we're doing okay for time. We still have, oh no. Oh my God, we only have 1 minute. How did I do that? Oh my God, the whole time I've been thinking I had 45 minutes when I only have 30. Okay, so these are going to be the ways that I leave you, and I will share that there's kind of one more person who's behind the scenes and in my mind now that I'll just name them because it's kind of they're the person that this is coming that these last two prompts are coming from. And here what I'm really suggesting is after, and this is again super short, so after that sort of act of where you look and you write and you look and you write and you're exploring your own, let's say, sort of arsenal of kind of observations and thoughts and ways of kind of framing. The purpose here is to think about a change in perspective, to actively think about a change in perspective. And the person who's kind of in my mind for this is Ariella Aisha Azoulay, and in particular, well, actually, lots of her writings, but I was looking at her book that's called Potential History, Unlearning Imperialism. But there's also The Civil Contract of Photography, and there's also some other essays she writes for journal articles about some visual anthropology. So here's the prompts, and this is sort of in a way the takeaway. For you to do some more writing, or maybe to think about like an extension of the the exercise. So you can really only do one at a time. But first is to change perspective on the object away from the human. What if the image or object needed your help? So what are non-anthropocentric ethics of writing to, for, with, alongside your image or object? How will your writing change perspective? Maybe pause on that. Try to think about an avenue. And the second thing is, and this is the one, I suppose that one's coming from a sort of just a general, say, a more than human perspective, or from a perspective of being aware of the more than human. This second one really is coming from the idea that many of the images and objects that we have come from systems of the colonial project, or sort of imperialism in Azoulay's words. So the second prompt would be check your image or object for how it may represent a discourse, an ideology, or viewpoint that's problematic. And if you do see it, try to switch perspectives, or become attuned to those problematics, those political problematics. How could you see it now? And how would your writing reflect such a change in perspective? How does the writing tend to a different perspective on this subject. I suppose this is coming from this idea that objects, well, none of them are simply present to us. None of them are simply present, even if it's something as natural as a kind of orange. Yeah, I think that's all we got time for. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you
you're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you do this in any classes for public, or because this was wonderful? It's such a shame